Imagine living in a place where the nearest road is 1,000 kilometers away, where lettuce costs $28, and where the sun disappears for 4 straight months, and choosing that life on purpose. Canada has hundreds of remote northern communities, many with no year-round road access. Everything arrives by plane. Winter darkness lasts weeks or months. Temperatures can freeze exposed skin in minutes. And yet, tens of thousands of people call these places home. Many from indigenous nations that have lived there for thousands of years. The part most people never hear? These towns aren't tragic or abandoned. They're alive. They're proud. And the people who stay aren't stuck. They stay because the land, the culture, and the community mean more than convenience ever could. Today we're counting down 12 of the most isolated towns in Canada, and the real reasons people stay. Some were created by government relocation. Some have been inhabited since the Ice Age. Some are rebuilding after trauma. And some are thriving in ways the outside world doesn't understand. Think you know remote? Then tell me if you know the town where the sun doesn't rise for 120 days. Or the community that built its own mountain road because the government refused. Or the village that keeps saying no every time the province offers money to relocate. Because the next time you complain about a long grocery line, you'll want to remember the places where groceries arrive by plane, if the weather cooperates. Number 12. Grise Fiord, Nunavut. The town that was never supposed to exist. Grise Fiord isn't just remote. It's the last frontier of human existence. With only about 130 residents, it sits on the southern tip of Ellesmere Island, more than 1,100 kilometers from the nearest hospital. A round-trip flight to Ottawa costs up to $7,000. Milk is $20. And from late October to mid-February, the sun doesn't rise at all. But the most haunting part isn't the cold. It's the origin. In 1953, Inuit families were forcibly relocated here to assert Arctic sovereignty. They were promised better hunting and a way home. Neither happened. The government apologized in 2010, but the families stayed. Their children stayed. Their grandchildren stayed. Today, Grise Fiord survives on hunting, government jobs, and community interdependence. Seal, muskox, narwhal. Not cuisine, survival. When someone struggles, the whole town steps in. Isolation creates connection. Grise Fiord isn't just remote. It's resilience carved into ice. If you think Grise Fiord already feels like the end of the world, wait until you see the place that has gone 20,000 years without a single road. Number 11. Old Crow, Yukon. 20,000 years without a road. Old Crow is the only fly-in community in the Yukon, and it has never had a road. For at least 20,000 years, the Vuntut Gwich'in have lived here, long before Canada existed, long before the pyramids were built. Everything revolves around the porcupine caribou herd, nearly 200,000 animals that migrate through the region. When the caribou arrive, the entire community goes out to hunt. It's food, culture, and identity in one. Old Crow is self-governing. Kids grow up speaking Gwich'in, learning land skills, and understanding exactly who they are. But flights cost $800 to $1,200. Groceries are triple the price of Whitehorse. And climate change threatens the caribou migration itself. An elder said, "We are the caribou people. As long as the caribou come, we will be here." Old Crow isn't isolated. It's rooted. And if Old Crow seems remote, the next community isn't just isolated. It's the capital of an Inuit nation, rebuilding its future on its own terms. Number 10. Nain, Labrador, the capital of an Inuit nation. Nain, population 1,125, is the administrative capital of Nunatsiavut, the first Inuit self-governing region in Canada. It's remote, expensive, and stunning. A flight to St. John's can cost $1,500. A bag of flour might cost $25. But Nain is also the gateway to Torngat Mountains National Park, one of the most dramatic landscapes on Earth, home to polar bears, caribou, and Inuit history stretching back thousands of years. People here hunt caribou, seal, and fish, not as hobbies, but as culture. A guide said, "I take people out to see the polar bears, and I'm home before the stew gets cold." Try that in Toronto. Nain is remote, yes, but it's also a capital city of a people reclaiming their future. Number 9. Fort Chipewyan, Alberta, the oldest settlement with no road. Founded in 1788, Fort Chipewyan is one of the oldest European settlements in Western Canada and still has no year-round road. Residents rely on flights, boats, and a winter ice road. But climate change is shrinking every year. Some residents work high-paying rotational jobs in the oil sands. Others worry about environmental impacts. Elders say the fish don't taste the same. The delta is changing, and the land feels different. Fort Chipewyan is a place where history, industry, and tradition collide, and where people stay because it's home, not because it's easy. And if Fort Chipewyan feels far away, the next place sits 870 kilometers from the nearest road, where the Arctic Ocean begins. Number 8. Kugluktuk, Nunavut, where the Arctic Ocean begins. Kugluktuk, population 1,491, sits at the mouth of the Coppermine River on the Arctic Ocean. The nearest road-connected community is 870 kilometers away. Flights cost up to $2,000. Milk is $15. The Copper Inuit have lived here for thousands of years, one of the only indigenous cultures in North America, with a traditional metalworking history. Today, life blends the ancient with the modern. Some residents work shifts in diamond and gold mines, then return home to hunt caribou, using knowledge passed down for generations. A hunter said, "The mine pays my bills, the land feeds my family." But declining caribou herds threaten everything. Number 7. Pond Inlet, Nunavut, the Arctic's most beautiful, most fragile community. Pond Inlet, Miittimatalik, is often called the most beautiful community in the Arctic. Glaciers, mountains, drifting icebergs. It looks like a fantasy world. Narwhal hunting is central to life here. The raw skin, muktuk, is shared across the community. Tourism is booming, but so are the challenges. Overcrowding, $2,000 flights, long polar nights, limited mental health resources, and thinning sea ice. An elder said, "The narwhal brought us here. They keep us here." Pond Inlet is breathtaking, and on the front lines of a warming Arctic. Number 6. Pawletuk, Northwest Territories, held together by caribou and courage. Pawletuk, population 265, is remote even by northern standards. The nearest road is 400 kilometers away by air. Flights to Yellowknife can cost $2,000. There's no cell service outside the community. Winter darkness lasts weeks. And yet, Pawletuk sits beside Tuktut-Nogait National Park, a place almost no one will ever see. The park protects the calving grounds of the blue-nosed caribou herd, the same herd the Inuvialuit have hunted for thousands of years. A hunter said, "This is home. The caribou, the beluga, the land. Everything I need is here." Life is expensive, dangerous, and isolated, but deeply connected. Number 5. Tadul Lake, Manitoba, rebuilt after a national tragedy. Tadul Lake, population 350, exists because the Saisi Dene refused to disappear. In 1956, the Canadian government forcibly relocated them from Little Duck Lake to Churchill, a disaster that caused starvation, violence, and death. It is now acknowledged as one of the darkest chapters in Canadian history. The survivors walked away and founded Tadula Lake in 1973, choosing a remote site near the caribou herds that had sustained them for millennia. An elder said, "They moved us once and nearly destroyed us. We moved ourselves here." Life is hard. Everything is flown in. Jobs are limited. Trauma runs deep. But the community is rebuilding itself on its own terms. Number 4. Alert Nunavut, the edge of human endurance. Alert is the northernmost permanently inhabited place on Earth. Population, 55 to 100, depending on rotation. It sits 817 kilometers from the North Pole. Nobody lives here permanently. Everyone rotates in. Military personnel, weather station staff, researchers. 6-month tours. Mandatory psychological screening. Months of darkness. Months of daylight. Temperatures that can kill in minutes. A technician told us, Alert tears you apart and then puts you back together. Alert isn't a community. It's a test of endurance, sanity, and what it means to live at the end of the world. Number 3. Bella Coola, British Columbia. The valley you have to earn. Bella Coola, population about 2,500, technically has a road. But it's a road you have to earn. When the government refused to build a connection, locals carved the Freedom Road themselves. The hill drops 1,500 meters, over 40 kilometers, with no guardrails. If you make it down and still want to stay, you belong. The valley sits inside the Great Bear Rainforest, one of the last intact temperate rainforests on Earth. Grizzlies fish for salmon. Mountains rise straight from the ocean. The Nuxalk Nation shapes the valley's identity. Bella Coola isn't remote. It's chosen. Number 2. Francois, Newfoundland. The fjord that refuses to die. Francois, population 73, sits in a fjord so steep that a road is physically impossible. The only way in is a ferry that carries you across for 45 quiet minutes. The government has offered relocation money multiple times. Residents refused every time. A fisherman told us, "If I ever leave this place, it won't be on my own 2 feet." Francois is aging, shrinking, and medically vulnerable, but fiercely alive. The people who stay aren't stuck. They're guardians. Number 1. Fogo Island, Newfoundland. The community that refused to disappear. Fogo Island, population 2,244, was supposed to die after the 1992 cod moratorium. Young people left. Jobs vanished. The government offered relocation money. Then Zita Cobb returned home, built the world-famous Fogo Island Inn, and revived the island's economy and identity. All profits go back into the community. Crafts revived. Young people returned. A fisherman said, "They told us to leave. We stayed. Now we're famous." Some places survive because they're convenient. These places survive because people refuse to let them disappear. Gris Fjord, Old Crow, Nain, Fort Chipewyan, Kugluktuk, Pond Inlet, Pawletuk, Taduli Lake, Bella Coola, Francois, Fogo Island. Each one answers the same question differently. What is a place worth? For some, it's worth 4 months of darkness. For others, it's worth $20 milk. For others, it's worth a lifetime of flights, ferries, and storms. But the people who stay aren't trapped. They're choosing something the rest of us rarely think about: land, identity, community, and continuity. These towns aren't just remote. They're reminders,
that not everyone measures life by convenience.
and not every place needs a road to be home.
Which of these communities surprised you the most? The Arctic towns,
The fjord villages, or the ones that rebuilt themselves from the edge.